Guru Nanak. Nanak disappeared into a river for 3 days. Everyone thought he drowned. When he emerged, his first words were, "There is no Hindu, there is no Muslim." In 15th century India, saying this was dangerous, Hindus and Muslims were locked in conflict. Nanak rejected both: Hindu caste system and ritual, Islamic exclusivism, and formalism. He said, God transcends all labels, caste is meaningless, and salvation comes from honest work and devotion. He traveled for 25 years across India and the Middle East. In Mecca, he supposedly slept with his feet toward the Kaaba. When kicked awake for disrespecting God's house, he asked them to point his feet where God wasn't. He preached peace and equality, then appointed a successor and started a lineage of 10 gurus. The 5th guru was tortured to death. The 9th was beheaded. The 10th militarized Sikhs in response, creating a warrior order. Nanak preached peace, but within 200 years, his religion needed an army to survive. Confucius. Confucius spent 13 years traveling China looking for a ruler who would implement his ideas about moral government. None would. They wanted military strategy, not lectures about virtue and ritual. He returned home at 67, taught students, and died at 72, believing he'd accomplished nothing because no state adopted his system during his lifetime. He was spectacularly wrong. Within centuries, Confucianism became China's official ideology for 2,000 years. The imperial exam system tested Confucian texts for 1,300 years, meaning memorizing his ideas became the only path to political power. But here's the contradiction. Confucius claimed he was just preserving ancient wisdom, not creating anything new, yet he shaped Chinese civilization more than any emperor. Whether those rules were actually ancient or whether Confucius invented tradition and called it preservation, we don't know. The teacher who thought he failed created the ethical structure that governed the world's largest population, Joseph Smith. Before founding Mormonism, Joseph Smith hired himself out to dig for buried treasure using seer stones, folk magic common in 19th century New York. He was convicted of being a disorderly person for defrauding a man who paid him to find treasure. 3 years later, he used similar seer stones to translate golden plates he said an angel showed him. The plates described Jesus visiting America and ancient Israelites sailing to the New World. Smith translated by putting his face in a hat containing the stone while scribes wrote down what he dictated. He published the Book of Mormon in 1830, founded a church, and introduced doctrines that diverged from Christianity. Humans can become gods, God has a physical body, baptism for the dead. He also practiced polygamy while publicly denying it, marrying over 30 women including teenagers. When a newspaper exposed this, Smith ordered the press destroyed. He was arrested and jailed. A mob shot him to death at 38. His followers walked to Utah and built a theocratic state. The religion founded by a man who went from convicted fraud to prophet to martyr in 14 years now has 16 million followers. Lao Tzu. Historians genuinely debate whether Lao Tzu was real or a legend invented to give Taoism a founder. Traditional accounts say he was a librarian who got disgusted with corruption and rode a water buffalo west to disappear. At the border, a guard begged him to write down his wisdom. In 3 days, he produced the Tao Te Ching, 5,000 cryptic characters about the Tao, which is the fundamental nature of reality, but also impossible to define or name. The text says the Tao that can be spoken isn't the real Tao, that reality is paradoxical. The strongest thing is water because it yields. The most useful part of a wheel is the empty hub. The problem, the earliest mentions of Lao Tzu come centuries after he supposedly lived, and the Tao Te Ching might be a compilation by multiple authors. Either way, whether Lao Tzu was a librarian who rode away on a buffalo or a convenient legend, Taoism shaped Chinese medicine, martial arts, art, and philosophy. The mysterious maybe-real sage created a tradition where the fundamental teaching is that reality can't be taught.